Round 3. And we are ready to go here. Let's see if we got a keepable. And ooh, it's almost like our deck's good with a hand like this. Looking forward to this. Yeah, I think I almost wish my round 3 opponent didn't know who I was, because this is not the deck I feel confident going into round 3 with. But we do actually have a good hand, so let's see if we can make this come together. Looming Spires, got it. Oh my god. There it is. My opponent's mind is blown already. He's like, wait, what? Goblin Warpaint? What's going on here? Please no clutch. Please no clutch. Alright. Gonna set up for the old planar outburst bait and switch after he deals with this expedition envoy. I mean, I could have sure strike there and gotten in, basically lightning bolted in with sure strike, but that's okay. All right, well, expedition envoy and goblin warpaint did their job, so can't complain there. Got in for 8 points of damage. Nettle drone. All right, well, sure strike's gonna be useful, I guess. Core entangler, sure. Kind of want to play the Great Horn here, actually. The reason being, it makes better use of my mana. He still has to deal with the envoy. If I draw a land, I get to Entangler next turn. Otherwise, I get to Sure Strike into the Nettle Drone anyway. I don't know. I think this is a better play. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, I feel like if he had removal, he'd rather do that than play a Nettle Drone. Four mana. I can't think of an instant speed way. Well, that's interesting. I think we're just going to swing. Instant speed way to deal with Sure Strike. Spell Shrivel comes to mind. Whatever. I'd rather Sure Strike here. Rolling Thunder just gets better later. So if he Spell Shrivels, I guess he gets a shock us, but at least we still trade. Okay. Did in fact Spell Shrivel, so Rolling Thunder, I guess would have gotten Spell Shriveled anyway, so it's probably irrelevant. And we still get the trade, like I said, so it's not horrible. We still have Entangler if we draw the land. which lets us get in for 4, which certainly sets us up for a lethal Rolling Thunder soon. Expedition Envoy Goblin Warpaint did their job. No doubt about that. No play. 5 cards in hand. Now that is curious. Alright. I guess I should have McKinley patrolled for the Vigilance. Would have made more sense, I guess. There's not a lot of punishment for that, though. Could be another Spell Shrivel. If it is, I guess I'm more okay with him Spell Shriveling this than, say, Rolling Thunder. Well, that's not quite the same thing. If it's a creature, I hope it's just one creature. So I draw land and Entangler and then potentially slay him with Rolling Thunder soon here. Slide Runner. Alright, well. Not quite what I'm looking for. Guess we'll let him use Blighted Gorge on my Slide Runner. It's a lot of Spell Shrivels. Still okay with Spell Shrivels getting busted there. In fact, guess I would argue my opponent should prefer to play the Blighted Gorge, but he might just need the land. Alright, that's what we want to see. Now we just need to draw a land. And our opponent is in some big trouble. There it is. Well, our deck just happens to be well suited against a counterspell deck. Because our things are very cheap. Rune Processor would be a thing. Bane of Balaged, not really a thing, though. Alright. Well, let's end this. And yeah, I think it's worth showing our opponent we have a Rolling Thunder. Otherwise, we have to face down a Bane of Balaged. Alright, well, it got there. Game 1, playing against Blue-Red. Arguably the best archetype in the format. Opponent has... Didn't see Bounce. Just saw a bunch of counter spells, which makes the Warpaint plan. I love that I have a Warpaint plan. But the Warpaint plan is still viable. Did we see a non-basic land? Yeah, we saw Blighted Gorge, but that's not good enough. We're going to have a hard time with that Bane of Balaged. No matter, this is as good as we're going to get. Let's do it again. Okay, well, opponent took a little time sideboarding there, so I'm assuming they took out the counter spells. At least that's what I'm... Yeah, I guess that's a fairly safe assumption. Hey, no red mana, but this hand will work for now. We do have 9 red mana we can draw, which is ideally good enough. So, took out the counterspells, my assumption. We don't know what he got in exchange, though, so we'll have to figure that out. Maybe we'll find out shortly. Or maybe he didn't take out the counterspells. Maybe I'm wrong. But it seems like he would probably take out the counterspells. Kozilek Sentinel. Well, that's going to get reproached. My opponent watches my videos, so he's going to know I'm a pretty conservative player that doesn't you know, bluff. I've probably bluffed, I don't know, 1% of the time I make plays. Conley Woods is like a sort of notable bluffer. The thing is, I don't know. I guess I have to see what my opponent's plan is, but I wouldn't think that. I would almost think getting rid of the approach. Like now, like this isn't good for my opponent. You know, he should have just done the approach. Let me reproach on my turn. Maybe he thought it was sure strike though. He did see sure strike before. All right. Yeah, I guess that makes more sense. He thought it was a sure strike. He didn't think it was Gideon's reproach. Okay. That is understandable, I guess. We're going to let that Ruination Guide ingest us. We're on an aggro plan here, folks. We do not have time to mess around with worrying about ingest. All right. So I can still Rolling Thunder. Serpentine Spike's pretty good too. So I can Rolling Thunder the Ruination Guide. Then I can swing with the Valakut Predator. Feels like a waste of Rolling Thunder. But not getting in also seems like a waste. I do have Serpentine Spike at some point. If I wait a turn on Rolling Thunder, next turn I can hit Incubator Drone. No. I don't love it, but I think we're just going to take out the Ruination Guide so I can get in for 4 over the next couple turns. Presumably get in for 4 over the next couple turns. Thing is, next turn I want to play Recruit. We got it. We're trying to be a high pressure deck here, so it just makes sense to me to burn and swing. Just makes it so he can't even block it, really. Figured that's what I was thinking about. Well, I'm sure he knows why. Rolling Thunder is a pretty strong card, so busting it on a 2 toughness creature alone is not the best, but in this case, especially against a blue-red Devoid deck, I would say necessary. Okay, what do we got? Drone coming in. So what is my opponent going to drop here? Let's find out. Outnumber. It's pretty good. I think I am actually going to offer the Envoy with the Scion. The reason being, my opponent, well, with that draw, I'm a little bit less inclined to, I guess. But I was thinking because he's got the 7 drops in there, I think we'll just go recruit. Although, yeah, all right. Let's see if he kept the counter spells. Yeah, that's too bad for us. I thought for sure he cut those, but I was incorrect. Unfortunately, that's a big loss for us. We kind of needed that guy. But now I just need 2 lands, and I guess we're in spike territory, which isn't horrible. All right. If I could play Spike now, it'd be so sick. It'd be so good. All right. Tangler's going to work, I guess. I mean, keeps guys at bay, I guess, so it's not horrible. Still don't really want to attack. At least make him use Blighted Gorge on Envoy. At least he's out of cards. That is good. So if he attacks, that means he's willing to use the Blighted Gorge, I guess? I don't really want to trade an Entangler for a... So I could double block the Vestige. I think we're actually just going to take this. My thinking is I want to play around the Blighted Gorge. Especially given that I've got Spike in hand and Sure Strike. Alright, that's okay, I guess. Lava Step Raider is not the worst. So I can swing with Entangler, drop Raider, leave up Sure Strike. We're going to take 6 maybe. Could also just play Raider, block Vestige, Sure Strike with Entangler. Then I can't block with the Raider. No cards left in my opponent's hand. Well, that gives me sort of the advantage with defensively playing here. So I guess I chill and play the Raider. Because this way I can take out Vestige without losing Entangler. And if I'm really lucky, he busts Blighted Gorge before combat damage. Which I think he will, and then Sure Strike gets way more brutal. I mean, I guess I don't think he will. It's possible that he does. Alright, that's pretty rough, actually. Outnumber? Yeah. Alright, well, that's unfortunate, but these things happen. It was a stellar top deck for sure. So, no blowout plays for us, and a pretty omega blowout play for my opponent. And Serpentine Spike is just not coming forthright. We've got way too long before that's going to do anything. Wouldn't mind if he attacked with the Scion. Alright. So I guess we block Vestige and pump, take some damage. Got to stay out of Blighted Gorge range, too. Yeah, I think we're just too far away, unfortunately, from this Serpentine Spike. Well, we could rip 2 lands, I guess. There's a chance. Well, didn't happen. Can't even double pump Raider. Yeah, we're in pretty rough shape here. If we can survive and our opponent misses top decks, we could, but we'll see. I think he's going to maybe bust the Gorge on a creature here. I don't know. I don't know. So if I take 3, I go to 5. I think we're going to go to 5. A new Great Horn. Yeah. Would have been an okay draw, actually. Okay. It's trouble. Our opponent's deck is ridiculously well suited with us now that I've seen Double Sentinel. So I've lost copious amounts of confidence, but the fact that we've made it to the finals alone is already absurd. Absolutely absurd that we've made it this far. Just ridiculous. Just absurdly ridiculous that we've made it this far. Okay. So I guess we'll just chump the Reclaimer. So I need to top deck a land, kill 3 things, then top deck a creature. And have my opponent miss for the rest of the game. That's not going to do it. Alright. That was a rough one. But do have a chance of beating our opponent. Even though their deck, as the other 2 opponents' decks, significantly better than ours. He doesn't have a ton of ways to interact with Goblin Warpaint. It's just basically counterspells. So, oddly enough, I feel like our deck is fairly well suited against him, which is strange, but I think true. Alright, let's try this again. I mean, we also have big swingy cards like Outburst, Spike, and Rolling Thunder, so there is definitely a chance we win this. Alright, this one's for all the marbles. Alright, guess we'll keep. It's going to have to do. Predator into Chasm Guide is not as aggressive as I would like, but I think we got to keep this. Alright, well, if we're going to rip lands, at least Serpentine Spike's going to do something. Opponent's very likely pretty happy right now. But at least we can actually attack into the Kozilek Sentinels with Predator too, which is actually kind of nice. Alright, got the Mist Intruder online. Envoy, oh man, what a bummer. You would have been so good last turn. But Envoy, I guess, could theoretically set us up nicely with Chasm Guide. Like, play a non-ally creature, then play Envoy, give the non-ally creature haste. Which seems okay. Alright, well, can attack into it. Don't want to get outnumbered here, but we'll see. Planar Outburst. Alright, that's a bummer. That is a bummer. Alright, he had all the goods. Well, at this point, I'm not ready to call it GG's yet, but that was a heart-wrenching turn for us. Absolutely everything that went bad happened. We lost one of our most important spells and our only creature that could get past this wall of defense. That really could not, I don't think, have gone worse for us there. Yeah, it's pretty bad news bears too, but nothing to be done. All right, just land. We continue to draw lands, but I guess Serpentine Spike maybe is going to get played this game if it doesn't get countered. Guess we'll play the Envoy too. Doesn't really matter. There's Blighted Gorge. Yeah, really didn't want to see that either, but can't always get what you want. I wish Spike did more. It's sad that Spike doesn't do enough for us. So, if he attacks with the Sentinel, we'll double block. I doubt he does. It's really pretty low incentive for him to attack with both guys. Alright, it's fine with me. I'll trade a Lava Step Raider for a Kozilek Sentinel. War Paint. Alright, Great Horn's acceptable. Keeps the Reclaimer at bay. Well, Serpentine Spike is basically the only way to climb our way back into this. Oh yeah, that's right. All right. On the unwinnable race plan. Still just basically banking on McKinley's Slide Runner doing something, as well as our opponent not having Spell Shrivel. Yep, it's pretty awful. Guess I can bust Gorge on that and then force us to chump. Doesn't really matter. No hope in victory now, fortunately. Yeah, like I said, the turn where we lost was Ingest Planar Outburst, outnumber Valakut Predator. We had a chance up until that turn. We can just concede. I can't win now. There is actually no hope for victory there. All right. I didn't want to reveal my hand there, so we would have drawn Rolling Thunder, which would have been irrelevant. So, doesn't matter. All right. Lost in the finals. Shocked we got to the finals with this deck. Very mediocre. Very, very, very mediocre. 5.5 out of 10 was a pretty proper assessment. So, took a gamble. Risked on, I figured people wanted to see something different. You know, I'm getting comments. People, I'm sure, are sick of blue-red. I always want to play blue. I don't know what to tell you. This is kind of a niche format. I've talked about it before, but I can get into it a little bit here. Main issue with this format is not only is it a two-color format, but it's even more specific than that. You can't just draft two-color and go. You have to draft two-color and specific cards within those two colors to make a good deck. So really what ends up happening is you end up with a lot of super similar decks because you get all these like outlier worthless cards for the archetype, like you know, Goblin Warpaints and Lava Step Raiders and stuff, even though both of them played fine in this deck. You just get cards like that that are, if you're in red, you don't want to play Goblin Warpaint for sure, and you certainly don't want to play Lava Step Raider. And even when you're in white, you don't really want to play Envoy all the time. You don't want to play Patrols all the time. So the cards are so specific within certain colors that you end up just searching for archetypal color-specific cards. And if you don't get them, then your deck's just like mediocre. So I think my only like major gripe with this format would probably be that. Hopefully, Oath of the Gatekeeper, or whatever the set's called, makes it a bit more exciting. Regardless, I think we're super lucky to have gone 2-1 with this deck. All three of our opponents had better decks than this, so very, very happy, I guess, with that. Could have been a lot worse. All right, hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you for the next one.